The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power. Their new iPhone app is simpler than a Tim Sherwood Team Talk, so download it now.
Hi there, a very warm welcome to the latest Racing Post Football Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I'm joined by my Racing Post Wise Owl colleagues, Mark Langdon and Dan Childs. And we've also got Sean O'Sullivan from Paddy Power. We've got 5 live Premier League clashes to get stuck into over the weekend. We'll have a little nibble at tonight's Europa League. And we'll also get everybody's best bets. First of all, though, we'll look back on the week that's just gone with the 6 questions. The lads get 2 each, and then they get to choose the one that they wish they were asked. So we'll start with you. Mark Langdon first up. What surprised you most about this week's Champions League action?
Blimey, there's a lot to go at here, Bruce. So many surprising results. Not often we've said that over the last few years in terms of the Champions League. I mean, I suppose Bayern losing away to Rostov, that means they will finish second in the group. That was definitely one. Napoli not beating Dynamo Kiev to put their qualification, would be another one. And I was very surprised by Mauricio Pochettino picking a League Cup defence for the Champions League game. I was absolutely amazed when I saw that he rested Vertonghen and Kyle Walker for such an important game. Yeah, it's hard to narrow down one, so I'll have to go for those 3.
I'm bad luck with your 7-4 correct score on the Dortmund game. That was
I suppose but the fact that Leggy had scored 3 against Real Madrid and Dortmund can put 4 or 5 past anybody. I mean, as weird as it sounds, it probably wasn't as surprising as some of the other things that I'd seen happen this
midweek. It was pretty extraordinary, though, all in all, wasn't it? Dan Childs, what mark out of 10 would you give yourself for your football betting this season? Have you been a good punter or a bad punter?
No, probably about a 3 at the moment.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
Why is it so bad?
I've been keeping figures for the last 9 years, and I've never been down at this stage of the season so far. So I had a bit of a shocking start, and I've been recovering a little bit lately. So
do you tweak your methodology?
I'll keep the job, but
no, you'll always keep your job, Dan, because we love you. But do you ever tweak your methodology or think, well, hang on a second, I've looked at that, they're not going particularly well?
I think that's a sign of weakness. I think if something's been working, so well for so long, you've got to, ride through the short-term storms, if you like. And the important thing is not to look at the results, but look at the process behind them. And I've been coming across, I think, you don't like to kid yourself, but I think I've been having a lot of bad luck, more than my fair share recently.
Really?
So, yeah.
Do you take it well when Jeff Stelling's telling you, and there's a goal at Gig Lane at 10 to 5? Or
I've had a lot of those late horror shows this season, yeah.
They always go against you. Sean, I want to ask you a question, and for maybe a kind of average football puncher who's got a weekly budget for, say, a 5 or a tenner, and they want a decent 4-figure win, maybe. They want to actually kind of, get something decent out of their football betting. What's the best thing? If you're walking into your Paddy Power shop on a Saturday, full of hope, you've got a tenner in your pocket, and you want to, you want to spend it and turn it into something meaningful. Which area, as an expert, would you look at? Would you just go for a straight long list and bash a few teams in there, or maybe correct scores or first scorer? What do you think the best advice is?
Yeah, if you're going to want to convert a tenner, let's say if you want like 100 to 1 shot and pop it up to kind of 4 digits, I'd probably stay away from the win-draw-win markets. I mean, it's hard enough at the best of times to get a lot of those games right, and you're going to need a lot of kind of underdogs, unless there was some specific weekend after Europa League action and you could take on a lot of the favourites. But I'd probably just have like a Euro Yankee on 4 goal scorer shots. I mean, your 4 first goal scorers, you'll pop it up to a grand happily if you get 4 of them up, and you're guaranteeing a return of 2 get up and a nice return of 3 get up.
Would you do that each way or all up to win?
Again, to be honest, I'd probably just do it to win. I think it's just more beneficial. There isn't a load of place value in the Premier League unless you have a team like City playing a Burnley or like actually this weekend. But in general, you're better off just going straight up for the first goal scorer market. A Euro Yankee, 11 quid, you're getting your 6 doubles, your 4 trebles, and your 4-fold. I think that's the way I go. I do that actually most weekends. I'll have a couple of quid Yankee. Because, if you do hit that holy grail and land all 4, you want to get that bumper return, especially in a market like that. So that's what I'd go down the route of doing.
And you generally sniff out the kind of, it's the favourites. We've talked about this recently, haven't we? That, the favourites do actually offer a bit of value sometimes.
Exactly, yeah. Like the favourites are the value in this market basically nearly all the time. I'd say like 98% of my bets will be in the general 1 to 2 kind of favourites in a goal scorer market. So generally you're getting value. More often than not, you'll get a couple up if you can just select a bit wisely. And it's like, just operate week to week. They're going to be different selections every week depending on who teams are playing, but the same pool of players, your Austins, your Costas, your Ibrahimoviches when they're in form, these kind of guys you want to be looking at. And look at team selection. I'd wait till 2:00 on a Saturday, check out the teams, do a bit of looking into who's the most likely to kind of find the back of the net if they're favoured especially, and then a Euro Yankee, and you'll generally do well enough.
And just give me one European player from the continent who offers good value for.
There's a few.
Give me your absolute number one favourite right now.
Oh, I'd probably go Cavani. I mean, he splits he actually scored first last night as well, but probably Cavani. Generally he's nearly in there the whole time for me. Cavani. Vieto's another. I mean, there's a few. Cavani, I'll go as number one, definitely.
All right, excellent. Mark Langdon, if you were Arsene Wenger, what, or more specifically, who would you buy in January? If you had one player, if the board said, right, we're going to open the wallet here, you can go out and get one player, whoever you like, doesn't matter about the money, who would you get?
I feel like they've got quite a decent sort of team as it is. Maybe.
What is it the fans always say? We need a big Patrick Vieira, we need a Tony Adams, don't we?
I mean, he bought Xhaka and he doesn't seem to completely fancy him. I mean, I'm not huge on Monreal at left back, even though he plays
terrible the other day.
Even though he plays for Spain.
I had him down as one of the most improved players last season. But honestly, against United, he was absolutely laughable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of. I like Wendell, who plays for Bayer Leverkusen at left back, and so I mean he'd maybe be one that I would consider. That Arsenal could buy. A lot of people like Monreal. I mean, I think he's quite inconsistent, a bit flaky, which is probably why he does so well at Arsenal.
But it doesn't sound like you think there's too many problems.
No.
Then if they just need a left back.
I mean, they're unbeaten in 18 matches.
Do you not rate Gibbs?
No, I don't rate Gibbs particularly. I mean, I suppose central midfield has been an area. I mean, I just play Xhaka more often, but Wenger doesn't seem to completely have fallen in love with him. But no, I mean, I think they're okay. I mean, Giroud comes off the bench up front. You've got options sort of on the wing. Iwobi, Sanchez can play out wide if you need to. They've got 4 or 5 central midfielders. Mertesacker will be coming back. Gabriel. As your 2 backup centre halves. I mean, I suppose Bellerin will be back. Jenkinson's not an ideal backup at right back, but no, I think their first 11's reasonably strong. I mean, they're still in the Champions League. They're still in the League Cup. They're doing well in the Premier League.
And the fans are moaning. So
are they still,
nothing changes.
No. I mean, they're doing what they should be doing, I feel.
Dan, on a similar theme, if you were Jurgen Klopp and the board were saying, right, we're generous, you've done fantastically well, we need to keep up the momentum, you can go out and spend what you like on one player, who would you buy if you were Jurgen Klopp?
I think probably the one position is a centre forward, because at the moment they play well with this false 9 system, but they're kind of having to do it because Sturridge with his injuries and kind of losses of form, is the kind of, so if it's unlimited kind of funds, then somebody like an Aubameyang, that sort of type, would give them something different and a more reliable option at centre forward. Excellent.
Do you think Liverpool will carry on doing all right this season, Dan?
I do, yeah. I mean, at the start of the season, I fancied them for the league. I think the title races, I've got it down to 3 teams, really: Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester City, one of those 3.
Right, excellent. It's going to be a good title battle, isn't it, for sure?
Yeah.
Sean O'Sullivan, final question for you. What would you rather give up, betting or drinking?
Oh, my God.
Let's say for a year, let's say 2017... Your lovely girlfriend, what's she called again?
Katrina.
Yeah. She said, right, Sean, I like you. We won all that money in Portugal. That was fantastic. You're a brilliant, brilliant boyfriend. But I just think you drink too much and you bet too much. So I'm going to, one of them, you've got to choose for 2017. You've got to do neither. Which one would you go for?
Yeah, I give up drinking. I couldn't actually give up betting. I don't know, is that prone to an addiction? I'm not sure, but I just love it too much. I couldn't do it. I mean, I can get interest on a Monday afternoon with betting. I mean, drinking would just end up being a problem. Yeah, I can. Oh my God! Yeah, I know. I'll give up the drinking.
Are you a better punter or drinker, Sean?
Oh, definitely punter.
there you go.
100%.
What's your kind of Achilles heel when you've had a few beers? Where do you go wrong? Do you get violent, aggressive, or just silly, or fall over?
No, I know when to go home. I'm proud of that.
You've got breaks.
I'm proud of that kind of facet of my drinking game. But I just puke too much. I mean, I need to know when there's just stop when that second last pint is coming, and then stop with that one on the last one. I just go home and I just puke my guts up. I need to just really work on that part of my game, to be honest.
Jolly good. Excellent. Mark, which one would you like to take?
I'd take the turning a tenner into a grand. I think potentially it's the win and both teams to score one. I feel like for the average punter, that is definitely the bet that they enjoy, which for that level of staking, I think enjoyment has to play a part. It's unlike a first goal scorer, it'll keep you going throughout the 90 minutes as well, whereas a first goal scorer could be over after 2 minutes.
But does it offer value, or do the bookmakers know that people want to back action and price accordingly?
I feel like the way that football's going with certain teams. I mean, you have a look at Liverpool. All of their wins this season have been with both teams scoring. Manchester City can barely keep a clean sheet. You're getting, reasonable prices about these types of teams. I mean, in Europe, Sean was mentioning in Europe. I mean, Dortmund are another one, as you mentioned as well. The 7-4 there. I do feel, I do feel there. There was a last gasp goal, wasn't there? I feel like that there's enough teams now that kind of play on the front foot. Whether it offers it's not the same value as an Asian handicap bet. I don't think we should pretend that. But, if you are looking to turn a small amount of money into a large one, I think that's probably the most fun way and potentially the best way of doing it on a Saturday.
Jolly good. Dan?
I'll take the betting and the drinking. I just couldn't, my life without betting. I
was going to say, I was going to ask you that one, Dan, but I don't have you down as a massive drinker. I don't remember.
No, I used to. Drink far too much. But
I remember one Christmas party you were the worst for wearing. We were in the Henry Addington, I think, and you were dancing in there. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember it, obviously. But no. One thing, if you cut it down, it's improved my life. The other thing tends to make it better. So,
absolutely. Yeah. So on a Saturday, when because obviously you're a regular race goer at Windsor on a Monday night.
Yeah.
And then you go to your favourite curry house.
I have a
nice
nice
couple of Cobras there or Kingfishers.
I would miss the odd Cobra, but in terms of cutting out,
I agree with you. I mean, I never drink in January, and I always try and do another month, but trying to go a month without a bet would be absolutely impossible. And the other thing, of course, that happens is everything that happens you think you would have backed.
Yeah,
so you kid yourself into that. It's hopeless. Sean O'Sullivan, which one would you like to answer?
Yeah, you asked her what surprised kind of most in the Champions League games. I'll kind of switch up this a little bit in terms of what surprised me most in the Champions League odds. I think we've all kind of gone on about them for quite a bit here now, but it's actually after yesterday, one firm pushed this team out in price. It's insane. Atletico Madrid are 17-2 with us to win the Champions League, but there's as big as 11s out there. It's an absolute all-in brilliant bet. I mean, they're the only team to have 15 points from 15. Not mind that. You can see that I think 4 goals at home in their last 21 Champions League games. It's a phenomenal record. But the way the games panned out yesterday, they're going to look at a pretty soft second round draw as well. I just can't get away from it. I just can't believe there's 11s out there on this. Like, it's just gigantic. I mean, they look like they're going to play one of like Leverkusen. They might get City, which wouldn't be ideal. I mean, you're looking at then. I mean, some of the other teams that they could draw. It's just grand. I mean, Napoli look like they might drop out a second if they don't win their final game. Porto would be another option. They have a really good chance of getting a super soft last 16 draw. And from there, we know how hard they're to beat over 2 legs. They've beaten Barca over 2 legs. They give Real a game every time they play them. They just shouldn't be that big a price. That 11s, I'd snap it up if you can get on elsewhere.
And I think as well, the fact that they're out of the La Liga title race will help them in that respect as well.
I mean, that is the next thing I do when I get out of here will be to hunt down the value for Atletico. Thank you very much, chaps. Excellent stuff. Before we get stuck into the weekend, we'll have a quick look. I want one tip from each of you for tonight's Europa League stuff. Start with you, Mark Langdon.
I'll go for Inter away at Hapoel Beersheva. They've not started well in the Europa League, but they've taken a decent squad to Israel. It's must-win time, and Pioli seems to take it a bit more seriously than what Frank de Boer did.
Inter for Mark, who for Dan?
I'm going to go for Panathinaikos away to Ajax, around 9-2 to win. They need to win to have a chance of going through. Ajax are already through. They're a much better side, but they're resting lots of players because they're already through to the last 32.
Okay, Shawnee?
Yeah, all just following the Racing Post. United to win and both teams to score. I mean, there's an entire article there in the paper about it, but it fully convinced me anyway that 23-10 is a massive price on that.
Lovely stuff. Let's get stuck into the Saturday live football.
Here's Paddy Power's new and exclusive kicker feature. Simply place a bet, add a kicker, and if your team wins big, you'll win bigger. 18+, gambleaware.co.uk. T&Cs apply.
Welcome back, Bruce Millington, Dan Childs, Mark Langdon, and from Paddy Power, Sean O'Sullivan are looking ahead to 2 mouth-watering live Saturday Premier League games starting at 12:30. It's Burnley who are absolutely thrashed by West Brom on Monday. They're back on the box, and it certainly doesn't get any easier because they host Manchester City. And Sean, I guess the away team are pretty warm orders for this. Tell us what the prices are and what the market did after Burnley got gubbed by West Brom.
Yeah, it didn't change massively. I mean, we're 3-10 City here. They are massive favourites. The draw is 9-2, and Burnley on their own turf, they're 9-1. I mean, it really wasn't that much of a difference. I guess, look, at the end of the day, Burnley's home form is very good, and people maybe are looking at that Monday game as a bit of an anomaly. And after City coming through a Champions League game, tough enough away fixture, tougher than possibly they thought, going down to 10 men. And so I think the market's kind of evened out, and there hasn't been actually that much kind of fluctuation, really, with the prices.
Who's got this one for the weekend? Has Captain A just named the team list for who's doing what games?
Skipper Aegis is on holiday.
Oh, is he?
So,
Commander Woods?
Yeah, I don't know if it has been done yet. No.
Which of you two wants it?
Not massively.
Not fussing.
No, I mean...
You start then, Mark. What's going to happen?
Well, I've gone for City half-time, full-time, because I feel like when City are at their best, they get at teams early. And if this is sort of 0-0 at half-time, you wouldn't want to be on the 3-10, would you, City, to win the game? So City have won 8 Premier League matches this season. 7 of those, they were ahead at half-time. Now, Burnley have done brilliantly at home. They got really early goals against Liverpool that enabled them to play, the way that they wanted to. If City can get an early... It all depends when that first goal comes. If it comes early doors... it could be a very easy game for City. The longer it stays 0-0, the more difficult it becomes because Burnley will retreat. But I'll go for City half-time, full-time. They've got the squad, I think, to cope with the fact playing Wednesday, Saturday.
So what does 30 to 100 do for the jolly double result there, Sean? 4 to 6?
Yeah, we're actually, it's 5 to 6. I mean, that does,
that
it's a
sounds
decent
all right,
price.
doesn't it? Yeah. It always happens that, doesn't it? You always think, right, I'm going to smash the jolly up on the double result, and then it's 0-0 at half-time, and then win 4-0. But you think they'll get it done nice and early. What do you think, Dan?
I think City are a little bit too short here, actually. I look at, Burnley's home form. There's only Chelsea and Spurs have got more points at home this season. I know Burnley have played the extra game because they played Liverpool at home rather than away because Liverpool's ground wasn't ready, etc. But I just think they're a hard team to beat at home. They beat Liverpool. The Arsenal game as well. They lost it 1-0. Was a late goal that shouldn't have been given as well. So they should have had a 0-0 really out of that game. And City have had the tough workout in the Champions League. So he does change his team slightly as well. Often the match after Champions League games, and I just think the price is too short really.
What are you going to do then?
I think the draw. I think at 9-2. Yeah. I don't think I would go as far as. I can't see Burnley winning the game, so I would just take, rather than go double chance, I'd take a bit of the extra price and go for the draw. You look at City last time at Palace. I mean, as you know, Palace not been playing that great, but still took a very late goal, for City to beat Palace. So
a ridiculous goal as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Terrible.
So I think Burnley will cause them problems. I think.
Jolly good. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I like both teams to score here. I think City do look too short in the market. I mean, Burnley's home form is down to there. I mean, it's been phenomenal. They've won 4 to 7 games. They actually haven't lost by more than 1 goal all season at home, which is pretty impressive. And they've actually scored a lot. 10 goals in their last 6 home matches. City are conceding away from home as well. They invariably win, but they do tend to concede. In 8 of their last 9 Premier League away matches, they've actually conceded a goal. So all that adds up, I think, to both teams to score being good value. It's 8 to 11 with us.
And who wants to give us a shout for they played for both clubs?
Oh no, I'm struggling, man.
I'm struggling.
Oh no, Ben Mee. Did he start out?
Ben Mee
he started out at City. Yeah, he started out at City. So I'll go for him.
Well done, you win 1-0 Lango. Chelsea Tottenham at 5:30. Got 2 Tottenham fans here. Let's see how unbiased they will be. Mark, we'll start with you. Chelsea versus Tottenham. Are you going to be watching this with your hands in front of your eyes?
Yeah. After what happened against Monaco, but all I would say about that was there was a similar negative feeling going into the Arsenal away game because they'd played poorly in the Champions League before that, and actually Pochettino came up with a system that worked well. I mean, I'm looking forward.
How's he going to match up against this 3-4-3 then?
I wouldn't be surprised if he went free at the back himself because he did that at Arsenal. There's nobody really to play left back with Rose suspended and Ben Davies out injured. So I'm wondering if he may just play the 3 centre halves and then Trippier as like a.
Trippier can move across.
He can move.
Before,
the other option is a back 4 with Vertonghen at left back, but then you're leaving yourself with Wimmer and Dyer as the 2 centre halves, and they were terrible.
Is Toby not back yet?
No, unlikely. He said about 10 days. That was the last update 7 days ago. So I'd be surprised if all. This game almost certain to kick off after what happened last year. The 12 yellow cards.
Of course,
Dembele, got a 6-match ban. There was fighting.
I still maintain that was a brilliant performance by Clattenburg. Honestly, I only got one wrong.
There was Dyer. I'm going to put a vine out of Dyer's last couple of minutes actually, because I really fancy him for a yellow card. I mean, he was. He just laid out Fabregas a couple of times.
Yeah.
Fabregas had gone on Sky the week before and said he hoped Leicester won the Premier League, and I think Tottenham lost the plot from that point of view. I'm going to go for Chelsea to win by exactly 1 goal.
That worked for you against Boro, didn't it?
It did. I mean, Tottenham are unbeaten in the Premier League this season. All 4 of their defeats in other competitions have been by 1 goal. Last season they lost 11 matches. 9 of those were by 1 goal. Yeah, it's very, very rare that the Pochettino team gives up, and it's very rare that they get absolutely tonked as well. So I can see Chelsea winning the game because they've been brilliant. 17-0 is the aggregate score since they went to a back 3. I don't think it's going to be absolute stroll for them.
Okay, what do you think, Dan?
I fear that it could be an absolute stroll for them. I just think that Spurs at the moment, they're an absolute shambles against Monaco, and one of the main reasons is at the back, because you've got the 2 centre-backs. I mean, Vertonghen should have played, but didn't. So he'll come back into the defence, but they're missing Alderweireld, something terrible. Vertonghen as well. Although he's going to come into the defence, he'll play left back because they've got no rows. I mean, either left back or left-sided centre back, as Mark's mentioned, if it's a back 3. But the thought of Trippier playing again after the way he played as well against Monaco. I mean, he was missing tackles. He was out of position. I mean, he was dreadful. So I just.
What are you going to go for then?
I think
correct score?
Chelsea 3-4. I think is a good solid bet. There's just so much wrong with this Spurs team at the moment. Eriksen and Dembele, key players last season, not performing at all recently. Chelsea, as Mark's mentioned, awesome since going to a back 3, and I just fancy him to win.
Okay, just a straight win bet for Dan, and Mark is going to go for Chelsea to win by 1 goal. What are the match odds, and what is the Sean O'Sullivan verdict?
Yeah, I think Chelsea get it done. I mean, I think the 1 goal is a really good shout. I just think, Spurs, it's been hopeless, haven't they? I mean, we're 3-4 Chelsea there, as Dan said, 11-4 to draw, and Spurs are 4-1 outsiders here. Yeah, I just think they'll get it done. I mean, I'm siding with the usual here. It's rinse and repeat every week, but I'll be back in Costa first goal. He's 16-5 there again. He landed it, thankfully, last weekend, and I think he could well get it done again. I mean, he's in great form. He just seems to be thriving there underneath Conte, and 16-5 I still think is too big. I don't think the market's fully copped onto him yet.
It was a funny goal, that, Sean, wasn't it? It was a big flurry of defenders all around it, and you thought they'd be okay, and suddenly a leg got stuck out, and in it went. It was
and that's it, and that's what you want. You want these guys that can just invariably end up in the right spot, and Costa is the epitome of that. Especially, I mean, this season he really seems to be just basically turning up in the correct places constantly. So I'm more than happy to stay on side of him.
Just quickly, Bruce. Tottenham have scored the last 19 matches that Harry Kane has started. You have to go back to early March at West Ham for the last time Tottenham failed to score in a game that Harry Kane started. So if you fancy, you sort of on the lines of what I was saying, maybe a 2-1 Chelsea win could be even better than just a simple 1 goal.
And you think it's going to kick off again? Who's the arbiter?
I haven't actually checked.
Do you know it is,
I haven't checked to see who the referee is yet. No. I mean, he's got a difficult game. I can guarantee that.
It'll be one of the top rankers, won't it? They'll
Can't be Clattenburg again, though. I wouldn't have thought.
I wouldn't have thought so. No, I suppose arbiter Dean would be in the running, and maybe who's the young lad, Oliver.
Yeah, I mean, Dean did Spurs last week, so I doubt he'll get them again after the 2 penalties.
All right, you research that, and we will come back in a mo with the 3 Sunday games. Oh, no, hang on a sec. Sorry, I'm getting above myself. Let's get the best bets for Saturday.
This will not be beaten.
Right, I'll go first. I'm going to go take a little chance, actually. Middlesbrough, I think, have been playing really well, getting some good performances, only just getting beat. I think it's going to come right for them, and I think 100-30 to win at Leicester is perfectly acceptable, so I'm going to take a bit of a chance.
Leicester going to miss Drinkwater there as well, by the looks of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a big out for them as well.
What do you think, Dan? What's your bet of the weekend?
I'm going for Bradford in League One away to Swindon. Not been outside the top 4 all season, Bradford. Very consistent side. 2 league defeats all season.
They were James's anti-post tip for the season last
Yeah, they're going really well.
Postcast.
I mean, they played Northampton Tuesday, won 1-0, but they really battered Northampton. 26 shots to 9, 14 corners to none. So they're playing well at the moment.
Excellent. Lango?
Well, yeah, I'm going to go for exactly the same as Dan Charles, actually. I really like Bradford as well. I'll maybe mention why Swindon are so bad rather than focus on the positives of the Bantams. I mean, they were awful, Swindon, against Southend. They got a 1-1. I spoke to somebody who went and said Southend absolutely battered them. The goalkeeper's put in just an incredible performance late on. I mean, they did beat Charlton recently, but it's worth bearing in mind Charlton had a load of players out and had that game.
That's that televised game, wasn't it? Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah, because Charlton didn't call the game off. They had international call-up, so they could have.
They wanted the TV money.
Yeah, that was a reason why Swindon A, won the game, and B, why Charlton was so poor. And I think if you have a look at this situation with Tim Sherwood, it's not great. Him going in as director of football, but picking the team, being in the dugout. I mean,
you wouldn't have expected that to all go wrong, would you?
Well, I mean,
one of the golden rules of betting, folks, is when Mark Langdon and Dan Childs agree on a football team, you back it. So Bradford, I will certainly be lumping on. Sean, who's your nap of the weekend?
Yeah, I'll go with Villa. I've been super impressed with them since Bruce took over. I mean, they've been really, really good since they got rid of Di Matteo. I think they still have a really good shot at getting to that top six and getting promoted. They're 5-6 to be Cardiff. They've improved a bit under Warnock. I mean, they're still very up or down. They kind of win one, lose one. But Villa on home turf are very, very good. They're unbeaten there this season, and I think 5-6 represents kind of a nice bit of value.
Is that a live game?
The Villa game isn't live. No, there's no actual early championship game for a change.
Okay.
But the Villa Bradford Middlesbrough treble pays 16-1 as well.
Wow, that sounds good. Okay, Mark, have you found out who's reffing it yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back with the Sunday games.
Here's Paddy Power's new and exclusive kicker feature. Simply place a bet, add a kicker, and if your team wins big, you'll win bigger. 18 plus gambleaware.co.uk. T&Cs apply.
Hello there, it's Bruce Millington, Dan Childs, Mark Langdon, and from Paddy Power, Sean O'Sullivan. And we've got a triple TV header on Sunday. 3 live Premier League games, that's good. Kicking off at 12 o'clock with Watford versus Stoke. Childs, are you going?
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, got a season ticket, so yeah, we're taking the little.
You and Joseph,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah, me and Joseph.
What's the name of the stand? Do you know? I don't know the name of any stand at Watford. Do you, Mark?
Yeah, well, no, you got the.
There's one. Oh, go on, Chelsea.
If you have a guess, you'll almost certainly get one.
Will
Surely an Elton John stand.
Elton John.
Yeah, the Elton John stand and the Graham Taylor stand. So,
right, okay. Yeah. So where are you?
I'm in the Elton John stand.
The Elton John. Yeah. Excellent, that's good then. All right, how are we betting on this one, please, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, as you'd imagine, it's extremely evenly matched here in terms of the two teams' abilities. So Watford with home advantage, they're 11-8. The draw 9-4, very popular, and Stoke are 21-10.
I'm glad about the scheduling of this because I just realised I've booked up for Sunday morning to go and watch that new film. Is it called Allied with Brad Pitt? I'm looking forward to that. It looks quite good. So I'm going to that, and then I'll be back in time for the afternoon games. What will I be missing here, Dan? A Watford win?
Yeah, I think you will be missing a Watford win. On the negative side for Stoke, I mean, they've got the 2 central midfielders are out. Whelan looks highly unlikely to recover from injury. Joe Allen suspended. So that leaves a big hole in there. Mbula looks like he's going to come in. I think it cost them £18.5 million. Hasn't been seen since September the 10th when Stoke lost 4-0 at home to Spurs. Probably Stoke's worst performance of the season. So there's obviously something amiss there with him. He's not living up to his price tag. So that's a Stoke negative. There's a lot of Watford positives as well. I mean, the game last week against Leicester, they played really, really well. It was a 2-1, thoroughly deserved to win. He changed the system a little bit, played one up front. Igalo's not really been doing the business, but allowed Pereira and Capoue to get a lot closer to the front man. And
you like Pereira, don't you? You discovered him, basically.
He's been... He started off really, really well. Then he's had to fill in on the left. Has not really been involved in the games as much as he should. Against Leicester, given the chance to play closer to Deeney, he was superb. Scored a fantastic goal. Had a role in the first goal as well for Capoue, who was back to his early season form again. Benefited from the formation change. So
maybe a Watford win and a little side order of Pereira.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Pereira could be interested in and Capoue as well in the first scoring markets. One thing as well to mention: last season Watford were very, very good against the teams outside of that top bracket, especially first half of the season. And they're doing it again. I mean, if you look at the results against teams outside the top 4, they won 5, drawn 3, lost 1. Very, very strong against the slightly not stellar teams.
Charles, he makes a great case for Watford. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I prefer both teams to score in this one. I mean, Watford have scored in every home game this season, but the only clean sheet they've kept at home came against Hull, who are the worst team in the Premier League, and by some considerable distance, I would argue as well. And Stoke, for all of their issues this season, have actually scored in 6 of their 7 away matches. And I agree with Dan that their midfield area, they could get dominated. But actually going forward with Shaqiri and Arnautovic, Boney as well, I think they've got enough about them to at least score a goal in this game. I'm not as confident on Dan, but he knows a lot more about Watford than me. But I prefer both teams to score.
What price is the old BTTS, Sean?
Yeah, it's 4-6 here. Yeah, it's great when we all kind of get along. Like my main tip here is Watford to win and both teams to score. So it's a combination of both. I mean, it's a 10-3 shot there. I mean, the lads gave enough reasons there for why both are really decent bets. Capoue as well, I've written down here as a kind of a outside first goal scorer shot. Dan mentioned him there along with Pereira. He's a 10-1 shot. I mean, 5 goals in the 1,000 minutes of football. It's pretty impressive this year. He's really stepped it up a notch. Yeah, and I just think, it's pretty much a goal every 2 games at the moment he's averaging. So I think 10-1 looks a little big.
When you go to the cinema, do you think it's a bit out of order to be on your phone? I don't like it personally, because if you're looking at the screen and someone down the front, there's just a little sort of square of light. I find it quite distracting.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Okay, I won't. I'll come blinking out into the sunshine and hopefully find that Watford have won 2-1. 2:15, Arsenal versus Bournemouth. There should be some slick passing going on here. 2 very easy on the eye teams. Arsenal undefeated in the last 11 Premier League matches, but will face a test from a Bournemouth side who are going very nicely under Eddie Howe, who in my view should be the next Arsenal manager. How do you bet Paddy Power?
1-3 Arsenal here, Bruce. The draw 4-1 and Bournemouth the rather ugly price 17-2.
Blimey, 17 seems mainstream compared to how some of your rivals bet these days.
Or us sometimes.
35-19 and all that nonsense. I couldn't touch Arsenal at that price. Dan, could you?
No, I think they're a little bit short. I mean, Bournemouth forgot the downside of Jack Wilshere is ineligible. He has been playing very well for them recently, so that's a bit of a blow for them. But I think there are plenty of, despite Arsenal being unbeaten for so long, there's a few negatives, I think, in their recent performances. Against Spurs, who were injury hit at the time, they didn't play that well
against
in that
Man
game.
U, they were just shit.
Against Man United,
they were absolutely terrible.
They were very lucky, and I watched the game last night as well, and I thought they were very lucky to get a 2-2 against. I mean, Paris Saint-Germain are a very, very good side, but still didn't play that well, and probably had to work quite hard to get the result as well. So it might have taken a little bit out of them. But I don't think, despite that, I would go as far as to say lay them. I just think that there's other ways to get with Bournemouth. Callum Wilson has been their main striker for a while. He's had a little spell out. He's had a bit of a bad injury record, but he's back again now. 9-1 to score the first goal. A game that Arsenal might be a bit jaded at the start. Bournemouth might start the quicker, and Wilson to score first looks a bet to me.
Okay, Mark, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is Arsenal are unbeaten in 18 matches. And Bournemouth terrible usually away to the big teams, but I like you two couldn't back Arsenal at the price there. Really, I mean, I was tempted to lay Arsenal, but the Bournemouth's away record, like I say, to these big teams, they usually just get turned over. I was maybe looking at draw half time, Arsenal full time, as a way of Arsenal, just their extra quality coming through late on possibly. But this is not a game I'd be having a decent bet in, I don't think.
No?
Quite trappy, yeah.
Will you watch it?
I probably will.
Did you watch it without a bet?
Well, I'll be in the office, so yeah. I mean, it's better than speaking to some of the colleagues on the desk. So yeah, yeah.
Have you seen the rota for Sunday? Is it looking good, team?
I'm sports editor. Goes downhill rapidly after that.
Sean, what do you think will happen when Arsenal meet Bournemouth?
Yeah, I agree completely with the lads. I think Arsenal are too short, but I mean, look, their record speaks for themselves. They do generally, they're not getting beat too often, especially at home. So I think they'll get it done. I'll kind of pick kind of a Mark Langan special market, kind of the winning margin. I think that I think Arsenal will win, and I think they'll probably just win by the 1 goal. I mean, it's a 13-5 shot. I think it's pretty decent. I mean, at home this year, they've actually only beaten one team by more than a goal, which is slightly surprising. That was only Chelsea. But I mean, in general, they tend to get it done, but they're not really too convincing at home in terms of winning by more than that goal margin. So 13-5 seems pretty big there.
I think that they paid for both clubs without Jack Wilshere is tough. Anyone?
A phobie?
Oh, okay.
It's not then, is it? Not when you got Mark Langdon's super football brain. Right, 4:30. The hat trick of games concludes with Southampton v Everton, which should be really, really good. Mind you, we said that about Southampton v Liverpool. And blow me down with a feather. It was 0-0. I didn't see that coming. But Southampton-Everton looks a really, really good game. And Sean O'Sullivan, give us your firm's latest prices.
Southampton here, they're even money, so they're actually rated slightly better than Everton in Asia, which I think is really interesting. The draw's 5-2 and Everton 11-4.
That is interesting, Dan. What do you think there?
I think they are probably a slightly better team than Everton, but I think the the timing of this game where it's fallen, I would actually want to be with Everton. They're playing in the Europa League on Thursday. They're still battling to get through in that competition. They've left a couple of players at home, Tadic and Font, with an eye on the Everton game. But their record after Europa League is really poor. I mean, they've had 1 win in 4 on the Sundays after Europa League games. That win was a 1-0 at home to Swansea, the bottom team. So it's they lost 2-1 at home to Hull the last time away to Hull the last time after Europa League. So,
and that was late goals, wasn't it?
I mean,
they led
Southampton.
They did win the game comfortably, but again, they didn't defend that fantastically. And I just think Everton have had all week to prepare, and on those grounds, 11-4, I think that's a big price.
Do you think Koeman will know a bit about Southampton and put that to good use, or is that a bit of a myth?
No, that could be a factor as well.
Can't do any harm, can it?
Everton haven't been playing well. That's the biggest concern there. But no, I just think that preparation-wise, they'll be better off.
You're just having a straight win on Everton.
I think I'll be looking at the double chance price as well, but the 11-4 just stood out to me as a really big price.
Yeah, I thought that seemed a decent price. What do you think, Lango?
Well, I'd Paddy Power shortest about the market that I was interested in, which is under 2.5 goals. I mean, Southampton, 5 of their 6 at home in the Premier League have been under 2.5. I mean, Pure's got them defensively set up excellently, as they showed against Liverpool. Really did lack ambition, though, in that game. Van Dijk is probably one of the best defenders in the Premier League.
He's a beast, isn't he?
There aren't too many good defenders in the Premier League. He would be one of them, no doubt about that. I mean, you mentioned earlier who could Liverpool buy. I mean, if they could get someone like Van Dijk, that would be great for them. Everton have only won 1 of their last 8. I'm just not. I can see Koeman coming here with a plan not to get beat after what happened in the last away game at Chelsea, where they were absolutely battered. So that's why I was looking at the unders. Wouldn't be surprised if this finished in a draw, low scoring draw.
Sure. And when you do your over/under price for that game, does the price just spew out of a computer and you put it up, or do you get a computer price and then think, I need to tweak this?
We generally we kind of, without giving loads away, but we generally just input kind of...
Can you give loads away? We don't know exactly what happens. Come
Why
on.
not? Sure. I mean, it's fairly common knowledge. I mean, a lot of the stuff, it would be very model driven, but you require an input. The thing about models is, I mean, it has to start somewhere, and it generally is from a trader input, and it can do everything off of that, but it still requires a solid input at the start. So we would enter an over/under 2.5 line in a win-draw-win, and from there, kind of Bob's your uncle, we can pretty much get whatever we want out of it, which is great. Let the kind of boffins do that kind of stuff. But no, we would have a direct impact on the over/under 2.5 from there, just through kind of Poisson and stuff. You can get 1.5, 0.5, 3.5, 4.5. All the other ones derive off that, but the 2.5 line we would put a bit of thought into.
And are you happy to be shortest on that?
Yeah, I am. I really like that angle. I mean, the bet I'm having here is kind of high scoring half to second half at 11-10, and it really goes along kind of the route the lads are saying there. I mean, 8 of Southampton's 12 goals this season, they've actually been in the second half, as well as 10 of Everton's 15, 2/3 have also been in the second half. So I could easily see it kind of pushing on to 0-0 at half time, and then either like a 1-1 at full time kind of thing, or one of the teams is narrowly grinding out a 1-0 win with that goal kind of coming late on. So I'll stick to that high scoring half second at 11-10.
Good stuff. Many thanks, chaps. Hope you have a great weekend. What are the weekend plans, Dan?
Watford and work, really, yeah.
So work Saturday, Watford Sunday,
that's right, yeah.
And Mark, you're working Sunday. Are you sports editor Sunday?
Yeah, so I'm working Saturday, sports editor Sunday. Michael Oliver is the referee at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, we thought he might be, didn't we?
Yeah, I wouldn't be amazed if he has to dish out a red to one of the Spurs players at some stage, particularly if they, do get behind in that one.
Absolutely. And Sean, what's Katrina got planned for you this weekend?
Oh, loads, yeah. Working and moving house. It's absolutely
moving house. Is this the Portugal? This is the Portugal win coming in, is it?
Well, I used to live with kind of 2 of my friends there, James and Steve. I literally had the ideal situation. Living with 2 of my best friends, and the girlfriend moved in as well, which it kind of worked. It worked fine for a time, but now it's time, unfortunately. Yeah, got to expand the wings, unfortunately.
Oh,
so
really?
IKEA is getting an awful doing at the moment, and I absolutely hate the place. So it's
IKEA. Where it seems like there's a law that if you go into IKEA, you've got to walk at half the speed you normally would and hold hands. It's like they're in a bloody museum, isn't it? Wandering around looking at glassware and racks and things like that.
Oh, it's shocking. I've never been more interested in the Bayern Munich kind of Rostov match because, it fell nicely at kind of that time I was wandering around with a phone, bumping into every trolley, but had to spend the time.
The best thing to do there is to walk around it backwards. That really confused everybody else.
My favourite IKEA story is when Wilco's dad wore a yellow polo shirt to IKEA in the British IKEAs. I don't know if it's the same in Ireland, but all the members of staff wear a yellow polo shirt. So Wilco's dad unwittingly wore a yellow polo shirt and had to spend all the time pointing people towards where houseplants were and that kind of thing. Well, I hope the move goes well, Sean. I hope the punting goes well, lads. Thank you very much for your tips. Thank you for listening. If you liked it, please do go onto iTunes, subscribe and rate us. We're back next Thursday with more Football Postcast, and we've got the Racing Postcast tomorrow, so do join us for that.
The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power. Their new iPhone app is easier than the verdict at a Blatter hearing, so download it now.